Hi, I'm Ayush. I'm a grad student in the Media Lab with Ramesh. And I want to talk to you about how can you've probably heard of like the Nanda index. So there's like this global registry where you can register agents. They can be extremely heterogeneous. They could be like any kind of agent from any protocol, and it's like a quilt that supports all kind of interactions. So the second step of what we want to make happen with Nanda is that how do we get these agents to start talking to each other? So one way we think about Nanda is sort of as like the universal handshake layer for you to go onto the Internet of Agents. It has to be completely open, but it's doing everything till you get the first handshake done. So to make that handshake happen, we still build a bunch of other abstractions on top. And this one works fine. Hello? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so basically we build additional abstractions to make sure your handshake is complete. So it's like essentially how do you onboard your agent to the Internet of Agents? And that can be any agent you've built inside your enterprise. It could be something that you've built using tools that already exist on the internet because there are a lot of agent builders that exist. And the goal is not to give you an agent builder, but some more of an agent adapter that allows you to take your agent and publish it to the Internet of Agents so that you can like talk to everybody else. So the agent adapter is just like a combination of like a general purpose interoperable protocol that allows you to take your agent and basically give it like a lot of languages that exist so that it can concurrently speak like many different languages and talk to many different kinds of people. So the motivation essentially comes from the problem we've been like talking about since the morning. So like imagine you're like Adam and you want to like order a cake for your daughter's birthday from your neighborhood bakery. So you probably want to send your bakery a message like, oh, can I have my usual order? To make that happen, you ideally send that message first to your agent, which is Adam's agent. So Adam's agent looks at the calendar to figure out when is the birthday. Is it like on a Saturday or on a Sunday? Then it looks at Yelp to see which bakery in the neighborhood is open on that day. And then it talks to the Nanda index to find where is the bakery's agent. And then it sends a message to the bakery saying, I want this cake on this specific date delivered to this person. And then the bakery's agent receives that message and gives it to the bakery. But to give the bakery full context, it needs to tell, do we have that specific chocolate cake available or not? Does Adam really like a chocolate cake or like a strawberry cake? And all of that exists in a bunch of different customer CRM databases, which are now MCP servers. So essentially to make this one flow of communication happen over this agentic internet, a lot of like Adam and bakery agent need to speak a lot of different languages. They need to speak over the HTTPS protocol to be able to talk to me. That's like one way to make that communication happen. But they will probably speak to like the calendar via the MCP protocol. They might speak to Yelp's website via Microsoft's NL Web. And then they'll talk to the other agent via the A2A protocol. Or in the future, a lot of new protocols will come in. So this one agent, so the Nanda index is providing a decentralized registry for all these agents to discover each other. But how do you set up the communication? Like, so what we'll do now with the adapter is essentially give like a universal capability for Adam and the bakery agent to talk to pretty much any agent that exists out there using knowledge they already have. So think of it like this universal adapter. When you go travel, you have this kind of a universal adapter that has like sort of the power points that work in all continents, all different countries. And based on where you're at, which city you're visiting, you may choose to use the appropriate endpoints. So essentially, you can think of the Nanda agent adapter as something like this, which takes the Adam agent on the left, which you can build using your favorite agent SDK. It could be like Google's ADK or Langchain, crewAI, whatever you want to use. And it sort of turns it into the more colorful agent on the right, which can talk to people in a lot of different protocols and languages. And essentially, your agent becomes like more of a super agent that can talk to like all kinds of protocols and speak a lot of different languages. And this is sort of how we propose to onboard onto the agentic web. And the process is pretty simple. You basically bring your favorite agent framework, right? You build an agent with whatever you like. It could be Langchain, crewAI, ADK, Autogen. A lot of these frameworks allow you to build your local agent that largely exists in your local sandbox, your siloed enterprise. You can talk to it, you can use it, you can do a lot of stuff with it. And then you just publish to Nanda with one line of code. And essentially, we'll just take your local agent, you'll call this one function, and you'll have an internet agent, an agent that can exist on the Internet of AI, and that sort of allows you to be a part of the agentic web. And to do it, you essentially need to just do pip install. Like if you're a Python programmer, at the moment we only have a Python API, but like it's an open source project. So if there are like developers who want to build like Node programs or like some other versions of the Nanda adapter agent, we would love for you to contribute. But with like a single line of code, you build like an internet agent, and this agent is discoverable because it auto registers to the Nanda index, and it's up to you. By default, it auto registers to the base Nanda index. But since Nanda index is like a quilt of registries, you can choose to register it to any index of your choice and then like connect that to the Nanda index. It is secure because you basically run the agent on your local device. So when Adam's agent is talking to Adam's calendar, it has probably authentication API keys to talk to Adam's Google account, and all that auth keys stay on Adam's account. So it's pretty secure. You don't have to like give your credentials to some third party. And it will become even more interesting as you try to do like agentic transactions, because you want like your financial details to not sort of leave your sandbox. And it's interoperable because this single agent can talk to like agents over like many different languages in some sense. It's like a polyglot in that sense. And in code, this is sort of what it'll look like. I mean, I'll show a demonstration on how you can use it and how it works. But this is sort of what it'll look like, that to start the agent, this is all the code you need to write. Like we basically wrote one line of code and like all of that is just filler. And you bring your favorite agent, you wrap it in one function and you just say start and you're all set to go. And the project is open source and we're still building it. So we'd love for you to contribute and work with us. And and I'll give you like a quick demo of how it works. So the other question is like, how do you use these agents? So you can use the adapter to build agents of your choice, and that's completely decoupled from where you may observe it, like what's the gateway. So to give you like examples for now, we've been building this thing called the Nanda chat, which is sort of one example gateway for how you may use agents that exist on the Nanda index and use the Nanda adapter for like multilingual conversation. But it's completely up to you. You can choose, like even the chat is open source and you can build it of your own choice. But that's one example that we're using as reference for now. So first I'll give you some context on like what it means to like set up an agent. So yeah, it's essentially, okay. Yeah, so basically what we have is, yeah. So basically what we have is like, so when you set up your own agent, you'll get some kind of a chat, and once you're logged in, you're logged in. And this is just one possible gateway where you'll see where everybody else who also has an agent that they've chose to publish to the internet, you can explore them. So there's a combination of like MCP tools, these context agents which can give you information. There can be other people like you who have published their communication agents, and like you can talk via their agents to other people. Essentially, think of it like you can use it to build a lot of different applications. But when you'll have an agent, you can essentially just go to the chat, have some kind of a sandbox, and ask all kinds of questions. For example, if I want to talk to MCPs, I just, for example, there's like a weather MCP that sits within the, like, which is indexed as part of the Nanda, which is part of the base Nanda registry. So to just talk to that, you just say Nanda colon weather, what? Okay. Yeah, I'll just do that. Yep. And basically it comes back, it basically, so this client is like my client, which is just an example client. You can build your own client. Everything is open source. And this client talks to my agent, which is like Ayush MIT2 is the name of the agent. And that agent, when I give that agent an instruction to go look for this weather MCP server that exists within the Nanda index and ask for the temperature of Boston. So it came back with an answer. So just this single request was a combination of an HTTP request going from my browser to my agent, and an MCP request going from like my agent to the MCP server and then back. And then I can use it to send messages to anybody. For instance, I may send messages to a message to Ramesh. something like that. I may want to send this kind of a message. So right now, what I've told my agent is that whenever you send a message to somebody else, I'm not really good at writing like good quality messages. So just improve them on my behalf. So basically, the message that Ramesh receives right now is that, oh, thank you for coordinating such a successful event, and it's an outstanding job. So it's a lot more like professional and nice than what I could write. So, but maybe you don't want your agent to do that. So now what I'll show you as a demo is like, imagine you want like, imagine you're talking to not your advisor, but to like your friend from undergrad, and you want to be like, I don't know, like more sassy or blunt in a response. If you want to do that, you could get your agent to do that as well. So now I'll show you how you can build your own agent, where, for instance, you want crewAI to like communicate in a different manner when talking to other people, and it just will make conversation more fun. So to do that, you essentially okay. So basically, to make sure that the agent is persistent, you need to get some kind of an EC2 or like some kind of a machine which has a public IP. So Maria did a workshop last week on how to basically get an EC2 instance assigned to yourself, get a domain. We'll do that again in like a couple hours after this. But imagine you've just got like some machine to yourself, which has some kind of a public IP. That public IP is important because that's where people can discover you. So I just got a machine for myself, and I just went there, and I logged into that machine. And I mean, I've already set up code for now, but I just go inside this folder called a test agent. This is just some like code that I have. So there are a few options for us to run. Let's say I have this agent called a Langchain pirate agent. So what this agent does is, it's in the same context of our Nanda communication scenario, but now what I've told this agent is that whenever you get a message, you want to turn it into pirate English. For instance, you always want to use phrases like, so I basically created an agent with Langchain that always talks like a pirate. So essentially, whenever you'll ask it to send a message, it won't just like professionally improve the language. It'll try to like make it slightly unique. So it'll say something like, oh, can I like use like ahoy, yay, or like a bunch of these like variables when describing messages. So each time you send a message, your agent is just following instructions. You can make a more complex agent if you want. And essentially, in code, we'll just create this kind of a pirate agent right here. And once you've done that, in code, I just create this pirate agent. I just wrap it in Nanda. I set up two variables, which is some kind of an LLM API key for now. You can host your own local LLM if you want, but you can, because it's very modular. But for now, we're just using some LLM API key as part of your agent. And basically, the ID for your domain that will be published to the Nanda index. So you need a domain so that people on the Nanda index can read you. If you want to set it up as an organization, you may not need a public IP if there's like a local IP within your organization's firewall that you want just people inside to use. So it's just some endpoint where people can find you. And yeah, localhost is not public. Yeah. And basically, you do that, and then you just call one line where you just say, I want to start this API server. So that's what I'm going to do. And let me just follow a simple. Okay. Yeah, so I just need to like export a couple of variables. Yeah. And I just need a domain name, so I just got a random domain name for myself for now, and I'll just check if they exist. And we have some kind of a test API key. Okay. And now I just need to run this process. So it just takes a few minutes, and basically my server is running now. And when you'll basically run this 3 lines of code, what you'll get is like your assigned agent link. So this is like the ID my agent is. This is sort of your authentication login key. So like when you'll run your process, at the end of it, you'll just see this simple command. You just copy this URL, and you can go to the browser. So I'll go to my, yeah, I'll just go to my browser, where I'll just paste this thing in the browser, and it takes me to the same gateway interface where your agent now exists. And when I just continue with my, this is a different email ID I'm using. You're ideally only allowed one account per email ID because you're using Google OAuth just to identify you. So I just have to give it some name. Maybe I'll call it like Nanda July 14 agent. So like you get to pick your username. Ideally, you have to pick a username that doesn't exist, and that's where like registering on Join 39 helps you like sort of claim your username for your experience in some sense. And I'll just call it something, and I'll just go create my account. Okay, I'm in. So basically, this is my agent, and it's sort of working now. And I can maybe send a message back to myself. So let's say it should ideally talk like a pirate now. So if I send my other account a message saying, great event, hope Nanda is of interest, and many others join. Yeah, so basically this is the message I sent to myself saying, hope Nanda is of interest and many others join. But basically it routes through a local agent running on my server, and it says something like, is it visible at the end? Yeah, I don't really know what it means, but it's sort of speaking like a pirate. And yeah, it's basically saying, yeah, I'll just zoom in. I think this, yeah. Yeah, so basically that's the message I sent. But I had basically asked my crewAI agent, Langchain agent, to speak like a pirate. So whenever it sends a message, it takes my text, makes it like a lot more like interesting to read. And you can make it like as complicated or as interesting as you like. And basically this local agent that you've set up on your side has pretty much access to the entire internet of agents. It can see everybody else who's registered on the left and just speak to anybody. If you want to like, you can talk to like, you can basically use this agent like a browser. For instance, you have like this personal, sorry, yeah. For instance, let's say, and yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll just send you a message from here. Yeah, so basically you can essentially you can if you can also use this local environment as your like chatbot, like how you use like ChatGPT or anything to talk about any concepts. You can just use that as sort of your local LLM assistant, but you can also just drag and drop it in conversations and just send it in a message. And now we'll have a pirate explain like the internet to Ramesh in a conversation here. But you can like use it for like all other kinds of like interoperable conversation, and you can for instance, if I want to like again like go back and talk to like some kind of an MCP server, I just go and say maybe I want to use like yeah something like that. Yeah. So if I want to like book a hotel, I can find like this MCP server that is indexed under the Smithery subregistry, and using the Nanda quilt, I can just go and find a hotel. And maybe the next interesting step that we would love for like developers to come and contribute to is that we can execute informational queries. We can make communication interesting, but it'll be really cool if we can basically have like wallet kind of MCP servers now that we have the ability to like secure your data, keep everything like on like a trusted infrastructure. That it'll be interesting to see like how do we give access to these agents, for example, my July 14 agent, to be able to like maybe like use some credentials to like order food or like actually book me like a room in one of the hotels around here. So thanks. Yeah, I'm happy to take any questions. And yes, yeah, please. Oh yeah. Oh sorry, the message I sent to myself. Yeah, it would have been sent. Let me- yeah. So basically, you get that confirmation when you have a message sent. So yeah, I mean, we should build out some search. Yeah. Okay. Yes. I mean, I should have received. So this is me on the other side. I should have received it by now. Yep. This is the message I got. So this is me on the other side. So this is my other account on a different tab, and like basically, this is what the Nanda July 14 agent just sent me as a message. So when I sent that message, it came across over. It basically found my personal account on the MIT on the Nanda index, and used that to talk to my agent and finally come to me across the entire chain. So it did no. That's the message I got. Oh, so because I've asked it to only route a message to me, that's what we're doing via the chat. It's not expected to reply on my behalf. It's allowed. It's basically its responsibility is to improve messages I send to other people. It's like sort of making like Slack more fun at work is sort of how it's working, because we're trying to show like how do you build like this quilt of protocols. It's not supposed to reply. It's supposed to route. So it improves outgoing messages and it routes incoming messages. It's just a design choice. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you want, there's definitely plans to do that. If you want to do it, like, very happy for you to just yeah, just like should just fix and like put a pull request. But yeah, any other? Yeah, please. From oh yeah, I mean, so that was because I was just doing it out of a sandbox. There's like an entire. I can actually go to someone's chat and send them a message. That's not a like for example, if I wanted to. So if I want to send like a message here, this is like thanks sending. Or you mean from the code? So you can just send message from chat. I mean, so yeah, so you can do that. So we have like a so technically we have a terminal API. So you don't need to do the at the rate and stuff. So the deal is like so the at the rate and all that stuff is like how our SDK interprets messages. So apart from like this browser thing, we also have like a terminal SDK. We haven't like published it, but we'll just like push it to Git. It's like in a private repository. When you do that, you can essentially think so that terminal SDK basically gives you like essentially like a command line instruction to send messages. It's you will still have to use the Nanda functions to do it, because like the Nanda SDK functions like interpret your messages before routing. Like for example, when you type a message, the function has to do a lot of things. It has to basically figure out what's the right protocol to speak over. Is it like an MCP or an A2A message? Then it needs to figure out, oh, how do I find the destination by talking to the index? So it knows how to like speak to like the index server. So index server has like its own like sort of REST API on top that it talks to. So like you can't just directly do it from crewAI, but you can do it in code. Like we'll just publish that. Like exactly that's the one I just set up. Like yeah, exactly. That comes as an SDK. You just pip install. Yes, you can use it to call any agent as long what the adapter primarily does is it does two things. It allows your agent it does the discovery problem of the agent, because it basically when for example you can have your crewAI agent but it's sitting on your computer. Let's say you want to publish it to the internet. So when you use that adapter to create the like let me just open the Yeah, so basically you need the adapter for communication. Like the agent fact is more about discovery and identification. The agent fact helps you see. It's like yellow pages. It's like, oh, here is who you are. Here is who I am. Let's say your thing says that you speak French, I speak English. So that's what the agent fact tells me. But if we still want to communicate, you need the adapter to set up this handshake to say that, okay, when you say a message, this is how I'll interpret English, this is how you'll interpret French, for instance. So like the adapter does the communication piece. It doesn't do like the publishing piece. The publishing happens on the index. So the adapter internally does use the agent facts via the index to figure out how to speak to you and then allocates the right protocol and all that stuff. Yeah. So basic. So right now we don't have, we've not built those like demos yet, but like it's entirely possible. And that's a very good question you ask because so that's not an adapter problem. That's actually a protocol problem because like MCP, A2A are all request response protocols. They don't do like chained composition. You'll have to like in crewAI kind of stuff, you have to explicitly orchestrate stuff. But crewAI is just simulation. It doesn't execute like a real network communication. So yeah, I mean it's a protocol problem, and we have got like protocol solutions to handle that problem also separately, which like will maybe like publish in like a month or so. Yeah. I mean, so this is pretty much how you can basically write any agent you like. Like for example, like I was just using crewAI or Langchain as an Oh, you can do that. That's how we initially did. So on our GitHub, we've got examples for that also. If you write your own like custom logic, independent of any of these frameworks, that's entirely possible. Yeah, we have demos for that on our GitHub. Yeah, like if you go to this GitHub, you'll see like in the README there are demos to like write any agent of your choice. Yeah. Sorry. No. I did not create a local host. It's running on like a public IP. That's what I had to get from EC2. Yeah. So you'll just literally do these 6 lines of code, no? Like if you have a different domain name, you just change the domain name in the environment. That's just an environment variable. Like if you see like this code snippet right now, you just change the environment variable and then you're good to go. Oh, so we have our own like registry help. So like when you use the SDK comes with a bunch of, for example, we have an API health test endpoint, which we are periodically querying. So like on the server side, we like send periodic pings to know whether your API health is responding or not. That's what the SDK takes care of. And based on that, we know like if you're like still alive or not using it anymore. Okay. So yeah, we'll do more of it like in the evening, so we can take more questions if you have. But yeah, thanks a lot for listening.